to be turned away, to be rejected. But what I'm going to share with you today is a different way to look at your situation, to give you insights into your child about what's really going on. Because for so long you've just been reacting to what's been thrown at you. You know, you're constantly under fire from an alienator, from a court system, from your child. It's just push away, push away, push away. But I need you to tap into the belief that you can change your child's mind. I need you to tap into the belief that my story and my dad's story, it can be your story. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but in the future. The more that you learn, the more that you take action on, that you put yourself one step closer to reuniting with your child, to recapturing that relationship. To take one step and then another step to be able to create the relationship that you want. I know that each and every one of you who are here today and watching this, because you don't have the relationship with your child that you want, you feel somehow like you're not whole, right? You feel like, yeah, I'm out there and I'm happy and I have other people and other good things in my life, but I don't have my child. I don't have the love and the acceptance of my child. I can't give the love and acceptance that I want to my child. So I don't feel whole. I feel like I'm only half of myself. I feel like I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I got to tell you, I understand. That is one of the things that we actually have in common. Because as a child of parental alienation, I never felt whole. You know, there's one thing to lose a parent. Tragedy strikes. You lose a parent. It changes your life forever. But it's another thing to have, as a child, a parent out there that you could touch, that you could talk to, that you could be with, that you could run and hug and kiss and share your life with as you get older, as you have great experiences, as you need help and advice. But you can't access that person because it's not acceptable for you to have a relationship with that child, with that parent. The alienator has made it impossible for you. So I can tell you that I understand that type of pain, not your pain specifically, but the type of pain to feel like just don't feel whole. Now for me, this is all about what to do when your child doesn't respond. Now we talked about other strategies. I want to really drill down on this so that I can share with you my perspective as an alienated child of what's happening. Because there's plenty of times in my life that I didn't respond to my dad. My dad would try things, he would send me money and checks, and the only way that he ever even knew that I got them was when, of course, the check was cashed. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's a reality. So what I want to do is walk you through what to do, what's happening when the child doesn't respond. And again, I'm going to use my own personal experience when I was not responding, but also I'm going to share with you my experiences in working with so many parents all across the world. So when your child doesn't respond to you, when you just hear crickets, here are the 7 things that I want you to do. This is your go-to strategy. I'm stressed out. I'm pissed. I'm angry. Why haven't I heard from my kid? I know Ryan told me don't react like that. But here's what I want you to know. Here's what I want you to think about. Here's what I want you to do in a real life situation and strategy. First thing is you have to consider the manipulation that your child is under. You have to remember that when you're responding to your child, when you're reaching out to your child and they're not responding to you, imagine and remember all of the manipulation that's been in their head, all of the stories, the false beliefs, all of the wrangling to make sure that they don't want you to be accepted by the child. That the alienator has put so much effort into getting the child's default reaction that they don't want you, they don't want to communicate with you. Just recognize that you're really dealing with a highly manipulated child. And just remember that. Know that it may not be that your child really doesn't want to hear from you, doesn't want to respond to you, doesn't want to not have contact with you. It's just they have been conditioned in the complete opposite way of that. So remember the manipulation. Remember the pressure that they're under. You know, I always imagine that your child is in prison and they're being watched by the warden. They've got, security cameras in the cell. And the warden, the jail keepers, making sure you stay in line. And just in case your child thinks about wanting to respond to you, they take that billy club and they rake it across the bars, clink, 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 just so that you and your child remember who's in charge. So remember, your child is under a microscope whenever they have communication. A lot of times your kids, just again, as that default conditioning, will tell the alienator, you called, you left a message, you emailed. They will, for some reason, and I did it too, it would just be so much easier. Just keep your mouth shut, right? Don't say anything. But comes out, loyalty, can't lie to them, can treat this parent terrible, but I have to be loyal. So they're under a lot of pressure when a gift comes in, when a message comes in, the alienator is watching. I better not see a smile. I better not see anything. They don't have to say that, by the way. You could have a parent that says, oh, what did you get from your other parent? And you just know how I'm supposed to react, how I'm supposed to respond, how I'm supposed to feel and exhibit how I feel about this. So they're under a ton of pressure. So the idea that maybe they can get something out that is positive or that's anything, it just may be, forget about it. You don't need to do anything. And the kid goes, oh, okay, I won't. So I shouldn't probably respond. Why bother? They're so full of themselves. You don't owe them anything. And they go, oh, I guess that's pretty much a done deal then. Case closed. Not going to do anything, right? The next part is acknowledge their limits. Acknowledge that they can't say, knock on the door, hey, mom or dad, I was giving it some thought and you're great and you're fantastic and you give me so much, but I'd really like to have mom or dad in my life too. I think that we can all just get along and I can have a relationship with them and I can have a relationship with you. They're not able to articulate themselves, especially if they're tiny, especially if they're small. And when they're even larger, even older, there's not an opportunity because they've had so many years of suppressing that, swallowing that desire, that it's not a natural reaction for them. So recognize and acknowledge their limits of why they're not responding, why they're not stepping up and saying, no, this is an equal parent. This is a parent that I love too. They haven't developed that. No one's modeled that behavior. That's why, again, we're trying to do little things to draw them out, to make it almost impossible for them to deny you forever, right? So acknowledge their limits. Number 4, control your response. Don't lash out. Don't say, it's been X amount of time since I heard from you. And after that beautiful letter that I wrote, after that excellent gift, after all that money I spent, I still hear nothing from you. You don't want to do that. You want to control your response by understanding these things. And here's one of the things that's going to help you get through that, to swallow your own response in a negative way, is you have to believe that your children need you. Again, I can tell you all day long that I needed my dad. No matter how much I rejected him and pushed him away and was silent, I wanted him, I needed him, I wanted to share stories with him, I wanted to show him my yearbook and sit down and be like, here I am here, and here I am here, and here's a picture of me, and here's my friends. I needed him, but I couldn't step up. I couldn't step out of it and into what I really wanted to do, which was my own power, my own strength. So believe that they need you. Believe that they are prisoners under the warden's watch. And again, it doesn't have to be a physical house. Your children, just like me, they move out, they go in, they have other experiences, they don't live with the alienator, and you go, why wouldn't they call? Why wouldn't they pick up the phone? Because they've been programmed for so long. There hasn't been enough of a catalyst yet to change things. That's what we're trying to do. Little by little, create those change. Incremental change over time, remember? So, believe that they need you. Understand that they're in prison and they need you. Number 6, continue using one-way communication. This is so pivotal that you think about this as one-way communication. If you had someone who was in prison and they can't just pick up the phone and call and text and email and all of those things, you would say, I'm going to keep sending a package to the loved one. They're in prison, but I'm not going to expect anything back because they're in survival mode. They don't have access, they're cut off, they're watched constantly, and a lot of times they're just trying to survive. So I'm going to just continue to push it out there. Push that love and kindness and compassion out to them. I'm going to put that out to them, and I'm going to put that out to the world. One-way communication, think of it that way. And then as you're doing that, because look, it's difficult. Take you back to when you had a baby. I don't have this firsthand experience, but parents will tell me, no matter how happy you are with this little baby, sometimes when you don't get any reaction, you're exhausted, you're feeding, you're up all night, dirty diapers all over the place, and you look at the kid, and at a certain age, it's like you don't get any acknowledgement for it. You don't get that feedback that says, thanks for all the hard work, right? That can become emotionally draining. So can this. In addition to everything else, I need you to make sure that you're monitoring your emotional burnout. And that's really about monitoring your emotional bandwidth so that you don't burn out. It's about saying to yourself, here is, given the situation, here is what I'm going to commit to doing. Here's where I got to stay in the game. I have to continue to try to do everything I can to communicate with my child, to do one-way communication, to have no expectations, to understand everything that they're going through. But I can only put myself on the line so many times a week. I can only put myself on the line this many times a month or a quarter or a year. So as long as you stay in the game, there's no judgment here. Okay? There's no judgment. Whatever you think you can do to maintain the communication without burning out, taking care of yourself in the meantime, so that 1, you can get through it. 2, hopefully, ultimately, when you see that child again and you have the ability to reunite, you don't lose yourself. You're the same person. You're an even better version of yourself. You didn't lose who you were in the struggle. So watch and monitor your emotional burnout. So again, this is your go-to strategy when your child doesn't respond. Consider the manipulation. Remember the pressure they're under. Acknowledge their limits. Control your response. Believe that they need you, because they do. Continue using your one-way communication. Take care of yourself. Monitor your emotional bandwidth and burnout.